It was in 2019 when we had decided to do a new lot of events and called the Love Earth Festival. And 2019 was a big celebration for us because we turned 10. And it was the start of this new, beautiful way of doing joyous, empowering events. And we were going to do our second one in Melbourne at the Convention Centre last year that we had to cancel. And so we did it online. But we will be doing it again, and hopefully next year in April we'll be doing our second Love Earth Festival. But I just thought you could have a look at this video because it does embrace, who we are as 1 million women.
Wonderful, thank you.
Today we are celebrating the 10th birthday of 1 million women, and it has absolutely gone off.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, 1 million women.
Humans all gathered in a place tonight. Everything will be alright if you let go.
A women's movement on climate change is so important to fostering behaviour change well into the future and creating a healthy, happy environment.
It's a simple but powerful message, and it's resonated with nearly 800,000 women and girls. It's grown to be the largest women's movement in Australia acting on climate change.
If I have to, I can do anything, 'cause we are strong, we are invincible, we are women, we are women.
Women are glorious, powerful agents of change. To profoundly change the way that we live, we have to deeply and madly fall in love with our earth.
Your love was trying to understand it, make a noise and make it clear. Oh, 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 oh. We're not gonna sit in silence. We're not gonna live with fear. Oh, 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 oh.
With every dollar we spend, we're making a vote for how we want the future to be. We need to give women ways that they can take action with their own strengths.
That piece about how you live goes to the heart and soul of what 1 million women is all about. We are building a lifestyle revolution, and we just say act in your own life, no matter how small.
Every action you take allows my forest to grow.
Don't think about yourself as having a small impact, because you are part of a big group. Whether you are trying to make changes to your waste, deforestation or climate change, you are part of millions.
Can you imagine the first taste of freedom for the refugee? Don't turn back the ships of freedom. Back to the sunshine of the sea. Can you imagine the first taste of freedom?
We are waking up, and when we wake up, we are powerful, and we will achieve unbelievable and extraordinary things.
So 1 million women, keep doing what you're doing. Keep making the change one woman at a time, because after all, isn't that what we have always done?
How wonderful that you've cut here straight to the core, straight to the heart of what climate change action is all about.
Together, 1 million women rising will become 10 million women rising, 100 million women rising.
Climate change is real, and it is happening now, and it needs us all. Never, ever underestimate the power that we have to change the world.
We're not gonna sit in silence. We're not gonna live with fear. Oh,
Oh, so inspirational. Okay.
Yeah, I really love that. It makes me actually want to cry because it seems such a long time ago that we were able to, all be out there, hey, with others. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so
Crazy.
true.
We had 2,600 people packed together in that space. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, and what great, great people, supporting you. Yeah,
I
fabulous.
know, Midnight Oil and some amazing people. It's been a journey. It has been such a journey. Anyway, yes.
Yes, lovely.
Good.
Now, I think more people have written in the chat, and yep, everyone, this is great. Please keep doing so. Now, Kerry, I think your question might have been next. How do we access cosmetics without getting lots of waste? And this is a key one for me too, Natalie. It's one of the key areas of my house that I'm really struggling to go plastic free, etc.
I know it is not easy. However, there are lots of brands now that really are doing everything possible to have minimal packaging or no packaging. I mean, we have a marketplace called Love Earth. It's our you'll find it if you go to our website. And the website's 1 Million Women. That's the number 1 millionwomen.com.au. And you'll see that we've got this marketplace, and we have got cosmetics on there that their packaging is compostable, or it's made out of completely recycled cardboard, or it's just it's just the bottle and nothing else, and so and shampoo bars as opposed to plastic bottles, and the cosmetics industry is a huge industry. 65, I don't have to tell you that, but 65% of the cost of a product is in its packaging. 65%. And so I think that there was nothing available 10 years ago, but there's a lot out there right now. You just have to go and search it. So that's one good place to look is on our marketplace. But I will say that the cosmetics industry also, and I know this personally, that we will do everything possible to make you think that you are not beautiful unless you're using this particular product. And when I started my cosmetics company, I had this brand, this beautiful brand, and it was called Natalie. And it was based on the art of aromatherapy, which is using pure plant extracts for health and beauty. And this brand, I really think about this brand because it helped me. Well, I mean, I know you won't believe this because I've just been talking about all the waste and how I was part of fast fashion, but this was before I got seduced by the department stores to create fast fashion brands. And this brand, Natalie, had hardly any packaging, and it was as pure as it could be, but it had this beautiful philosophy. And the philosophy was that to be honestly and truly, this goes for all of us, the blokes too, to be honestly beautiful, truly beautiful, it has to come from in here. It has to. And that it doesn't matter what you put on your face, if you don't marry it up with inner health and happiness and joy and inner calmness, it won't matter what you put on your skin. The two have got to marry up. Sorry, I know it might think I'm going off track, but we as the cosmetic industry tries to make you think that that's not true. that you need 100 products to make you feel beautiful, when in fact you really only need 1 or 2 at the most. I just use 1 on my skin. And so you could actually look at what products you do have and then cut it back by 50% because we don't need it all. Anyway, that's just a little bit on the side about the cosmetics industry. But there are brands out there that have the least amount of packaging, and it's just go and find them and support those brands. I think as you know, as we transform our lives, like we've got this next chapter, we've got this next decade. This decade is the one that counts. We know that. And it needs all of us, you know, it needs all of us, governments, cities, you know, communities, households, individual, it needs all of us to do what we can. And I think, you know, if we look at ourselves differently as instead of consumers, and we think about that dollar that we are spending, and we think about, are we spending that dollar? Are we lifting somebody else up with that dollar? Is it a small brand that is doing the best they can for the planet? Or is it just a big, you know, corporate brand that has one good product in it? And it's thinking of differently as a consumer where that dollar goes. Yeah.
Yes, great. And it wasn't a tangent, that idea about redefining happiness. I thought that was such an interesting part of your book, Natalie. I was surprised by it, but then when I thought about climate action, it makes so much sense. And it's not just cosmetics, is it? It's like fashion and all those sorts of things that have made us to think that we need this to be happy. That's not the case. But,
and I think that and I have a whole chapter in the book about the love of Earth, and a whole chapter about what it means to be, why happiness is so important in this climate fight, because and why redefining happiness, because in affluent society we just actually are led to believe that more stuff is what makes us happy, and that but it's only a temporary fix, really. You know, when you buy something, you feel good, but then it's just not enough, so you want the next thing and the next, and so, but we're led to believe that we're only going to be happy if we buy lots of stuff, and it's redefining that happiness is about, you know, connecting with nature and that beautiful experience, as opposed to the stuff that we buy.
Great. Now, Jane has an interesting question, which is something I've been thinking about too. In the case of YCAN, you know, we've got a relatively small group and obviously limited resources, just like I'm sure you do at 1 Million Women. You know, we've chosen to focus on local government action with some state and national issues as well. And Jane asks, how do you decide what to spend your energy on? You know, limited resources.
Yes, so we are a very small team. There's 6 of us. We're an environmental charity, and so we have, you know, a board and advisors, and we have a very small team of 6, and I guess as an organisation, we every year make those decisions about what are we going to be focusing on, what is it that we should be working on, you know, each year, and it's quite fluid. You know, we do campaigns. We do election campaigns, or we'll fight for the Great Barrier Reef. We have an app that we show people, you know, how to live. Like it all depends on what's happening. So we're quite fluid with those sorts of things. But I will say that we have gone through this the last few years. It has been, and I think, sorry, I don't finish my sentences sometimes, but I think we will all agree that that, you know, working in this space, it's very easy to burn out. And my little team and I have really felt that over the last 2 years, and COVID has been very tricky, as it is for everyone, and we've found it very hard navigating through. We have decided that we have gone very wide with a lot of the things, and we can't keep going. You can't keep thinking you can do it all. And that's why we've spent the last few months really looking at the work that we do and trying to narrow it, because we're not going to be any good for anyone if we just keep going wide and wide and wide, and then everyone burns out. And so that's why it still sounds like we're doing a lot, but we've been very quiet this year, trying to regroup and trying to build that energy back, because and I'm actually personally in the middle of writing a second book, which is to be released in July next year. And so, that's also a lot. But I think the important thing, and we've had to learn this, I think we all learn these things the hard way, but we've had to learn this because we all, it's been very tough, and we're just bringing it all in. And we're going to just focus these next couple of years on less things and do a bloody good job with them, as opposed to trying to go so wide.
Yeah, great.
Hope that answered that question, Jane.
Hope so.
We bring on, like we will talk to, last week we had a session with Professor Leslie Hughes talking about the IPCC report, and we will talk to WWF about the Great Barrier Reef and what our role should be in the next in the lead up to the I'm declaring the Reef in Danger is a campaign that we've been working on since 2015, and we've got, or whenever it was, 2014, and we've got 60,000 signatures to this open letter that we now are going to get that to 100,000, and we do that in consultation with WWF to make sure that we're aligned with their with the outcomes that we need.
Great. Now I'm just conscious of the time, and I can see lots of great questions still. This one's a good one from Jess. She's asking about, so your focus, particularly in the book, Natalie, has been around what women as individuals and then together can do. And Jess is asking, she's thought about some of the things she can do herself and at home, but she's also an owner of a small business, and wondering if you have any tips for small businesses in this sort of vein.
Yes, and so Jess, I see you're saying you've started the process to try and become carbon neutral, and I feel like at home I'm happy. There's a lot of support. I mean, going in your workplace, there are companies out there that will help you go carbon neutral, and one that we have on our marketplace is called Trace, and so please look them up, because they will go through all your operations and help you work through that to come up with a carbon. What is it that would help you become carbon neutral, but also looking at all the processes within your business. Do you have a supply chain? Is there a way that you can work with your supply chain? Are you big enough to be able to encourage your supply chain to go carbon neutral, and to change your suppliers? Look at have you got the opportunity? Do you have a freestanding, operations that you can put solar panels on your roof, or look at, all those all those things, of course, are all part of it. But it's also looking at the food waste in the business, lunch, the plastic packaging, all those things are all part of it. A paper, free environment. So all of that's part of looking at your operations. I don't know if that helped, but and helping the people in your team be on board, because I think that obviously that's really important.
Right. Meredith asks about holidays. How do you approach holidays, and particularly flying? I know you have a section in your book about this, don't you, Natalie?
Anyway, I just was looking at Jess's other question about essential oils and how wasteful and unsustainable and toxic the industry is. And I think, yes, I think I would have to agree in a lot of ways about yes, there are some ways essential oils are extracted that are really beautiful and pure. They really are, but yes. Anyway, sorry, to go off track there too. And
oh, good. What was it? Oh, yeah. So holidays. How do you approach holidays and flying and things like that?
Well, yeah. I mean, flying is one of the worst things that we can do, because the pollution is already up there in the upper atmosphere, so it makes it. I can't remember. I think it's 3 times more potent than. I think that's right. And we do have to fly less. I mean, COVID has, obviously helped that, but we have to fly less. We absolutely do. And of course, we can't stop flying altogether, and people need to fly to get places, but we can fly less, and we can look at holidays closer to home, and we can support, domestic travel, and that whole approach of living locally and supporting your own, in your own area. And I think that COVID has really stripped that back. And it's, look, I go to the climate change, the big climate change conferences that happen, and it always, you always think before you go, oh my God, like there's 40,000 of us that are flying from all around the world to be at these climate change conferences. So, but there aren't many ways not to be there, except this year is going to be a little bit different. And I think that everything we do, if we can just do it less, if we can fly less, if we can eat less meat, if we can reduce our consumption, if we can do everything less, it will make a big difference.
Yeah.
And also, the other thing is thinking, and I know Shane, you mentioned, or someone mentioned electric vehicles.
Yes.
Someone mentioned it, but
Shane did, yes.
Yeah, and remember, but I think that it is looking at different forms of transport too. If I have an electric vehicle, which is quite incredible. It's 100% electric, and it's an incredible feeling knowing that I am driving somewhere without any tailpipe emissions. And I know that not electric vehicles, not everyone has access to an electric vehicle, but if you're thinking about another car, a next car, honestly, electric vehicles are the way of the future, and are an incredibly exciting solution. And I think that when you think about holidays, it is about options. Is there somewhere, if you fly somewhere, can you take the train? Is there another way that you can get to that destination? Because we always defer to flying as the first thing. And it's like when I first started 1 Million Women, before I got the point on climate change, I had bought myself a Pajero and, 15 litres to 100 kilometres 2 months before I had my epiphany. And and I had never, and you know, I can't believe this, but you know, I live up, you know, up here 40 kilometers from the city. There's a bus stop. There's a bus stop at the bottom of the street, across the road and over the road. And I never had caught a bus. I would jump in my car and drive to work solo. It never occurred to me. I would never take the time to catch public transport. It was the last thing on my list. And it's just thinking differently. You know, it was once I started taking public transport, it was the first thing I thought when going places, not the last. And yes, I still had to get in my car, you know, but I didn't think about that travel from A to B with a car and nothing else as no other option. And so it's thinking differently and how then that sticks.
Now, I think we've got time for one more question. I'm having trouble choosing it, but I think I'm going to go with, given we've got a federal election likely next year, early next year, how are you promoting the Vote Climate message?
Yeah, so we are starting to ramp up our climate, our election campaign. In the next week, we're sending out our survey to So we'll start off with our survey, which is about what women are thinking in Australia around climate, and so we'll get that out next week. And then from there, we'll roll on with things about the election, and we'll take that all the way to the day. Then it'll be about having conversations about climate, and to people that we need to influence. It'll be about interviews with politicians. And another thing is really getting behind some of the things that are already out there. The Zali Steggall, who is the next electorate down, and has the Climate Act bill. And right now they've got a big mass mail out that trying to encourage as many people to write letters to send to a locked bag. And I think we've got that up on our social media today. And they're wanting to get 30,000 letters in before the end of the month. I don't know if you know about that one.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
You do. And we've got our own open letter that we are going to send out just ahead of COP, but we'll keep that going through to the election. And I see 1 Million Women's role is to get as many people talking and engaged on this, to demand climate action, and then channel them through to other things that are also happening.
Wonderful.
We're part of a couple of big things at the moment. The Better Futures Australia Alliance, which is, I don't know if you've heard of them, but
I don't think so. Oh no, Meredith's nodding. Good.
Yes. Yes. So we're starting now with that push. How to write letters, how to have the conversation.
Great. Wow, we're out of time. A big thank you to you, Natalie, for talking to us about your journey, about the 1 Million Women movement, about your book. I know I've thoroughly enjoyed the discussion, and have a list of additional things I've written from your book that I need to start or stop doing. Thanks to everyone else for your questions as well. It was a really great discussion, and I'll pass everyone back to Shane to make some closing remarks.
Thanks, everyone.
Now, Shane, are you here? Yes.
There we go. Thanks. And yeah, my thanks as well, Natalie. That was fantastic. And thank you, everyone, for coming along. And stay tuned for future YCAN webinars. Generally, these are held on the third Wednesday of the month. And they occur every so often, every couple of months or so. And finally, of course, a plug for YCAN. If you'd like more information about what we do, or you'd like to receive our regular newsletter, you can sign up on our website. That's ycan.org.au. Or if you feel, after listening to Natalie tonight, that your time has come to take your climate journey to the next level, and you'd like to join us in taking local climate action, we welcome people to join with us at our regular monthly meetings. So if you'd like to get involved, and we really encourage you to do so, please send us an email at info@ycan.org.au. That's info@ycan.org.au, and we'll get back to you and let you know, give you some details. And with that, that concludes the presentation tonight. Thank you so much, everyone, once again.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Perhaps you can disconnect our last person.
Yes.
Sarah.
Okay.
Great.
I was saying that went well. She's such a lovely person.
Yeah, she's great. She was really good.
Oh, yeah. I'm so sorry about the recording.
Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry. I was just we had too much technical situation to deal with. Don't worry.
So at least I think when I send her a email, I'll send her a thank you, and I'll just explain and copy it and see what she says. Like, we can just put a note with, if we upload it, with a note to say where we started.
Well, I think what we do, Sarah, is actually we'd edit the first little tiny bit out of it and just start with the video.
The video, yeah.
Because that would be a good intro to the organisation. And then we can just have the questions. I think it would work. It'd work fine.
Yeah, we just need to find someone that can do the editing.
I'm sure Dave can do it for us.
That'd be good.
I'm sure that
he could.
It's beyond my capability. It's particular.
Yeah, beyond mine as well.
But such a good point she made about the focus on social media. We have just got to get someone onto this.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I'm hopeful the Climate Connection group will be all over that for us. But I guess that one thing I am a little bit I don't know how we resolve is that I'm sure they can set it up for us, but the question is we need to have someone active and enthusiastic to do the maintenance. It's not enough just to set something up that looks fantastic and So I'm not sure how we solve that piece of the puzzle, to be honest. But I'm hoping maybe that Wendy or Beck or Georgia or Chris, someone will take on that role and really run with it.
Yeah.
Can I just interrupt for a second, Sarah? We're still recording.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. We probably don't want that to happen.